If you've ever thought about renting a cabin on some no-name island just to get away from everything for a weekend, I want you to watch this video first. Because in about 10 minutes, you're going to hear about a man who did exactly that and ended up hearing his own name spoken through a locked door in the middle of the night by a stranger who had no business knowing it. You'll hear about a guy who got a once-in-a-lifetime research permit to a forbidden island and found proof that he wasn't alone. And you'll hear about 3 friends who paddled out to an abandoned island in the middle of a major American city and heard one of their own voices call out to them from a room they never entered. 3 stories, 3 islands, all submitted by real viewers who say every word actually happened to them. Let's get into the first one. Story 1. The Cottage on Gull Island. This happened to me last summer. I was 23, freshly out of a rough breakup, and running on fumes from a job that was actively trying to kill my spirit. I needed to vanish for a few days. Not go on vacation, vanish. A guy from my office, Marcus, mentioned this speck of land off the coast of Maine called Gull Island. According to him, it was almost offensively uneventful. A handful of day trippers came out on the ferry, snapped some photos, and left before dinner. Nobody stayed overnight. He said if you did, the whole island was basically yours. That sounded perfect. I found a rental listing for a standalone cottage right on the water. The price was almost insultingly low for beachfront property, and it had a last-minute opening, which, in hindsight, should have made me pause. It didn't. I booked it in under 5 minutes. The cottage was tiny. 1 room, a kitchenette that clearly hadn't been used in years, and a bathroom you could touch both walls of at the same time. Brush and scrub pressed in on 3 sides. The front had 1 window, covered by a curtain so thin it barely blurred the outline of anything on either side of it. And here's the detail that should have tipped me off. The front door had a deadbolt and a chain lock, both of which looked brand new. Why would a cottage this remote need 2 working locks installed recently? I didn't ask. I took the last ferry out, walked the island as the sun dropped, and watched the place empty out completely. No streetlights, no people, just wind and water. It was genuinely beautiful. Quick pause. If stories like this are your thing, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button now, because story number 2 on this list might be the most unsettling thing I've ever narrated, and you won't want to miss it. I grabbed a late dinner at a small bar near the dock. The bartender got a strange look on her face when I mentioned where I was staying. On my walk back, I passed a little cove maybe 100 yards from my cottage. 1 boat was tied up there, a small blue motorboat, completely different from the big lobster boats docked everywhere else on the island. I clocked it, then forgot about it. Back at the cottage, I locked the deadbolt, hooked the chain, and went to sleep almost instantly. I woke up sometime after midnight to footsteps on the gravel outside. Slow. Deliberate. Long pauses between each step, nothing like an animal. I shifted slightly in bed, and the footsteps stopped dead. The silence afterward was worse than the noise. A few minutes later, they came back, not passing by this time, approaching, right up to the door. A flashlight beam swept across the thin curtain. Then someone tried the handle. Then they leaned into it. Then came the pounding, hard, deliberate bangs that shook the frame. I dropped to the floor and crouched behind the door, heart slamming against my ribs. And then, right as I braced for the door to give, everything went silent. That's when I heard the voice. "I know you're in there, Daniel." I don't know this man.